Hi everyone, Scrapper B here. I have gone ahead and gotten started with our card workshop Your Way, and we are doing the sending hugs today. So project 1 is this card that we've got here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the way we're going to cut this. So this is how Close to My Heart gives you the pages so that you can cut your paper. So we've got our paper here, you've got the BNT paper here, and it's going to give you the guide. This will tell you how to cut it. This will tell you which paper to use, and you'll notice that on every one of them. So these are your cutting guides. I have gone ahead and cut all of my paper for 12 cards, but today we're only going to make one. Project 1 will consist of the first card here. So what I have done to keep myself together and organized while we're making the cards is I have made the guide here. I've put all of my pieces together. So everything from 1A through 1F, and I even measured some twine and put it down here. So that as I'm reading the instructions, I am going to know, and it'll be easy for me just to go ahead and pick the piece that I need to assemble the card. So I'm going to move this out of my way for now and put it kind of right in front of me, and that way I'll have it. So I'll get my guide and start to follow it. So you'll see the assembly guide here, steps 1 through 9. What I have also done in my steps 1 through 9, although I have labeled all of my pieces on my big sheet, I also like to label them here as needed. Believe me, there have been many times where I lose the pieces and I'm not sure where they're at, so I'm kind of giving myself 2 areas to look at in my assembled instructions here and in my guide that I made over here where I've placed all of my pieces. So let's get started. Now, this will be our final product here. You've got the card, very pretty. You can change things up as you wish, but for right now I'm going to try to follow the guide as it is. I'm usually one that loves to put bling on my cards, and sometimes instead of ribbon that it calls for, I like to use something sparkly and sometimes other ribbon. This kind of to me is it's really pretty and really simple, but we're going to follow everything that Close to My Heart has helped us to put this card together. All right, so as we get started, we are going to have to pull a card out of our packet. Remember, we get a 12 packet of ready-made card. So you'll see the crease here for you to fold it, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it open so that it is easier and it lays flat as I'm assembling my pieces here. So this one here is going to be a portrait setting. So what we'll do is I'm going to flip it, and if you'll notice the little bump here, you may not want to be particular or need to be. I like to feel this part here. So if you notice, this is the bumpy side and this is the flat side. So when you fold it, it'll go this way. So I'm going to turn it around this way, and we are going to I use this grid to help me when I'm measuring, and you'll see that as you're laying your card down, as the instructions call for, it'll tell you to go out 3/8 over, or as you're placing your card. This one not so much, because we're going to start from the bottom up, and this is very important that we are starting from the bottom up because of the instructions, and because I put one together already, it kind of helped me understand what was going on. So we prepared our pieces as shown above, and now we're going to take and attach. We're going to get 1A, which is 4 1/4 by 1, and we're going to bring it down here to our grid, and we're going to get 1B, which is what you cut out with your cuddle bug, and so these are I cut 6 of these only because I'm making 6 cards, okay? So you only need to cut out 6 of this scallop border here. And so what we're going to do first, and the instructions are telling you that attach 1B, which is your scallop, to 1A. So this is your first part here. So we're going to take that, and what I've done is I've kind of pretty much adhered and made this sticky. Now you can either use a Xyron sticker maker, or you can use some Close to My Heart adhesive. We sell this, and I believe now it's the same thing, it's just a different color. It's gray in the book. This is blue. It's the same Bonding Memories chisel tip glue pen, okay? So if you were to use this, when you first purchase it, it's white, and as you pump it, the blue glue will be coming out on the tip, and you'll see that. So this is nice, but when I'm making a lot of cards, I do like to use a Xyron sticker maker. So we'll go ahead, and this is 1B, our scalloped edge. We're going to adhere it to 1A. Now, you're going to notice that it is longer. It's a tad bit longer, and that's okay because that is what the thin cuts is, this measurement here. The thin cuts measures your scallop at about 5.5, or at 5.5, and 1A, remember, was 4 1/4 by 1. But the instructions do say to adhere it, and it already knows that obviously that it's too long, so it does tell you to trim the ends. Number 3, attach 1B to 1A and trim the ends. So that's what we're going to do here. And then you can just toss these over. And so now we're going to embellish it with twine. I prepared my twine, and when I measured it, when I made my first card, I noticed that I needed 16 1/4 inches long. And you might think, well, wow, that's only 4 1/4, but it is. And what happens is I am going to wrap it from the back and bring it to the front. And as I tie a bow like you do on a present, I don't worry about lining it up just yet. I've got to make this bow, which can be a little bit difficult. And we're going to make the little bow. Okay, now it's doesn't look pretty, of course, so you're just going to manipulate the little loop on your bow, bring it in just a little bit. And yes, I am being a little wasteful because I've cut so much ribbon, but the twine they gave us, there's an abundance that you purchase in this little bundle, so you'll have plenty for all 6 of your cards. Now, so now that it is where I need it to be, I'm going to scoot it up a little bit because it's kind of flush with the top part of your scallop, okay? You'll see why in a minute, and that's because we are actually not even showing the straight part of the scallop on there. So now let me go ahead and cut this ribbon. I'm using my micro scissors. They're very sharp and very pointy. I've cut my fingernails off as I'm cutting before. So be really careful with those. Don't let your children play with them. They are very, very sharp. But we love the scissor because it is very precise in the cutting. Okay, so we've got that together. So the reason for this madness is that we wanted to wait, adhere 1B to 1A. You want to go ahead and put your ribbon on. Now you're going to adhere all of this to the bottom part of your card. Okay, so we will get our adhesive, our Tombow adhesive. We're going to put it in the back. And I kind of capture the ribbon because that way the ribbon is part of, it's getting adhered onto your card, okay? So now we're going to put it on the very bottom. And voila, you're done with that part. It's getting there. Okay, so the next part is 1C. We're going to get 1C, which is 4 1/4 by half. The 1/2 inch, you didn't have to worry about cutting that because it was already at 1/2 inch. Remember, this is a Z strip that I was talking about that is at the very top of your 12 by 12 page. So we are going to, you cut it off of your 12 by 12 page, then you get your strip and you slip it into your Fiskars cutter and you cut it at 4 1/4 inches long, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and get our adhesive. Put it flush, apply it flush to your card. to the, to 1A and adhere it to your card. That's done. Then you're going to get 1D, just 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and tape that down. Okay. And adhere it. And the next thing that you prepare ahead of time, and it does ask you to prepare ahead of time, is your stamp. I didn't prepare it ahead of time because I actually wanted to show you how we will be doing the stamp. Onto your 2 3/4 by 3, which will get adhered to 1E. So 1E is the background and 1F is the foreground, which we will stamp. So let's get ready to stamp here. And this little pad here is a little foamy pad that comes inside the envelope with your stamp set. Perfect little cushion that you need to do your stamping on, because you want your stamping to get on there really nice. So I have put the wreath on this 3 by 3 block, and I have my Whisper ink. I'm going to stamp it, or ink it up, I'm sorry. Let's ink it up. And the acrylic blocks are lovely because you get to see as you place it down. There you go, isn't that beautiful? And if you wanted to, you could fill in the flowers and make them maybe match some of the colors that we are using here. Next, we're going to put our sending you hugs, prayers, and love. That's a very pretty sentiment. So we'll, oops, I always get stuck with that. I leave the first ink pad that's in front of me, and I tend to always use it again. But I kind of keep them lined up. So here I have my inks lined up. Next is we're going to use a sapphire ink pad. We're going to press our stamp into it. And sometimes you get the ink on the corners. I just kind of wipe it off so it doesn't get on my card, and then I end up with blue fingers or whatever color I'm using. So again, we're going to center this and press down, pick it up, beautiful. Okay, and we have this. Now it didn't have any little hearts, but I just love the hearts, and I thought they were so pretty that I wanted to use some of the glacier for the big heart. Now I'm adding this little extra touch, and then I use the tiny little heart, and I put that with the sweet leaf. Again, you can change it up a bit. Okay. Now another thing that I tend to do, you notice these edges are just white. There's nothing around them. I like to add as much color as possible. So because the wreath is the Whisper color, I ended up taking my ink pad and I kind of just rub it along the edges. Gives it a little more frame-like on the white, so it's not just so starky white. And I kind of just like a sandpaper, just with that kind of motion, pretend that you're sanding the edges, but you're actually coloring them in. And if you get a little streak like this in the corner, don't worry about it. Just adds a little more personal touch and a little bit different feature on here. So what we'll do, we're done stamping now, so I'll move the foam pad. I've got my 1E piece here, 3 by 3 1/4, and I make sure that I want to, yep, that's how it goes. So I'm going to put the foam, you can attach the foam either to the glue so that it pokes out a little bit, or 3D dimensional look, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that down, and then I'm going to let the top part put the foam on the top part here. So I'm changing that up a bit too, but okay. Now you don't have to put foam on all 4 sides. You can change that up a bit too. ran out of my big foam. I'm just going to put that away instead of taking too much time trying to get it out. I'm going to adhere it to this blue part. And then we will put it on here. Oops, it looks like I ran out of my tape. All right, so go ahead and you stick the back. And this time, this is going to go flush to the yellow part of the shell. So there you go. And you're all done. So you go ahead and you fold your card. You've got 2 beautiful cards now, and you've got 4 more to go. Enjoy putting and assembling your cards together.